We have 5:30. Welcome to the January 10th, 2023 Downtown Development Board meeting. I ask that everyone silence their phones and cease private conversations. The members need to, especially tonight with the broken audio visual, lean forward and speak loudly and clearly. We're gonna introduce our members from left to right, starting with me, I guess. I'm Keenan Kinsel.
Karen Zaniboni.
Terry Nowitzki.
Festus Boveni.
Jennifer Frazier.
And I believe we have a quorum, correct, Elise?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry.
First item on tonight's agenda, 2.1, the minutes of previous meetings. So we have the regular minutes of the previous meetings, December 6th to last year, 2023. Any corrections? None? Can I get a motion regarding those minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes of December 6, 2023, 5:30 p.m.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, we have Kiara made the first motion, Terry the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Citizens to be heard? No citizens to be heard. New business items. We have upcoming events funded by the DDB, Market Marie, New Year's at Coachman Park. 4.1, Ms. Lopez, November 2023 financial statement.
Good evening, Ann Lopez, Interim CRA Executive Director. This first item that I have before you is an approval of the November 2023 financial statement for filing. Your funds spent in November were $22,340.67. Those expenditures are outlined in your agenda item with an ending balance of $429,929.98. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I think we've had that clarified.
Did I get a motion?
Okay, I motion to approve the financial statement. Thank you very much. The financial statement 2023-2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have first by Kiara, second by Festus. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 4.2, amendments to the DDB budget for fiscal year 2023-24 and the resolution. Ann Lopez.
So this item that we have before you is your 2023-2024 budget amendment, which is bringing in your unallocated or unspent funds from the previous year. I did provide all the board members with a copy of the budget. There was one mistake that was made on my part. So currently, the number that's listed in the agenda item here is $653,846. This number includes the $75,000 that should be in your reserves. So this actually brings your unallocated amount that we would bring in at $578,846,000. What my recommendation is from your approved budget to this amended is increasing your special event grants up to $450,000 and then taking the balance, which is there's a 304,636 in future downtown initiatives, unless the board sees where they would like to allocate this funding into a different line item in your budget. We can do that. This would allow the board, again, with different future initiatives that they may have that we do not have a specific line item for within your budget, this is where we would be able to allocate those fundings. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No citizens? Could I? Yes.
I just had a question. That 300,000 would go to funds that we would allocate to
Whatever the,
citizens that come.
yeah, whatever the board would
Okay.
like, if they want to, if the board so chooses to move that entire amount into special events, special event marketing, you can do that. You know, as staff, CRA staff is looking at a marketing, potential business marketing program of what we can do, like Eric Santiago had mentioned at January's meeting, you know, this could be something that could come out of that future downtown initiatives line item.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any further questions? Could I get a motion?
Motion here to approve. The Downtown Development Board budget resolutions
Amendments.
Amendments.
Budget amendments.
for 24.
We have a motion by Terry, do I have a second? Second by Jen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Do we need to do we need to read the resolution that's attached to it? You want me to read it?
I can do it, I just need to find it again. There it is. All right, budget amendment resolution, number 24-01. Resolution of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board of the City of Clearwater, DDB and adopting the DDB fiscal year 23-24 amendments to the annual operating budget, providing an effective date. Whereas the Clearwater Downtown Development Board of the City of Clearwater, Florida held 2 public hearings on September 6, 2023 and September 13, 2023 as required by Florida Statute 200.065 in order to adopt the appropriations and revenue estimate for the budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 in the amount of $838,710. And whereas it is in the best interest of the DDB to adopt certain amendments to the DDB operating budget which do not increase the total expenditures above the adopted appropriations and revenue estimate for the budget for fiscal year 2023-2024, semicolon. Now, therefore, I'm sorry, that's from dictating. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Clearwater Downtown Development Board of the City of Clearwater, Florida, Section 1, adopt the fiscal year 2023-24 amendment to the DDB operating budget outlined in Exhibit A. Section 2, the resolution shall take effect January 10th, 2024.
Good.
And is that the motion that you are approving?
That is the motion that I'm approving.
The resolution you're approving?
That's right, so then now we can call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna, since you're already up here, I'm just gonna rearrange the itinerary because of the attendance and there's no TV. We're gonna move 5.3 CRA updates since you're already there. How about that?
CRA updates?
That's what it says.
Oh, sure. Sure. There is only one CRA update for you tonight. They have selected a new CRA executive director. His name is Jesus Nino. He comes from the great city of Tampa. He is one of the managers for the city of Tampa CRA. We are very excited for him to come on board. I will bring an agenda item forward to the CRA trustees on Tuesday, January 16th for their approval, and his expected start date will be the 22nd. So this will be the last meeting that I stand here as the interim executive director, but I'll be here February 7th back as senior manager.
Fantastic. It does say something in here about a work plan. Are we to go over that tonight?
A work plan?
It says here that we're supposed to make a motion for the work plan. Should we carry that forward to the next meeting?
I don't have an agenda item for a work plan.
So maybe that's a typo at least.
Is that part
Is
of
that
your
from last time? I
chart?
guess that's a typo and I apologize.
That's fine. If we need to, we'll bring it back at a future meeting. Thank you,
Yep,
Ann.
absolutely.
I'm going to give a little report now instead of at the end. I've written it to be primarily for the ex officios and for board members and for city council members. I don't think this is being recorded. I don't see cameras moving, so I'm going to talk really loud and we'll have to transcribe to get this to them. Is there a way to do that, Elise?
You're going to give me a copy of that so that I can,
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So-
She was like,
and I will get you a copy so
Yeah,
that.
I need to have it for public record.
I can
Yeah.
either send it to you when I'm done or,
Why don't you email it to both of
Okay.
us, please?
yeah.
Email it to us and the board.
Okay, fantastic. So here we go. Bear with me, it's a few minutes, about
Sure.
6. Okay, in case the cameras are working. So good evening. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. As we know, over the years, Clearwater has continued to expand, and recently the city has created modern parks, streetscapes, bridges, and entertainment venues most would envy. Our city's annual budget is approaching $1 billion, and we have tons of new development throughout the city in the works. Our city is now almost 110 years old. In May, it'll be 109. And before shopping malls and the bridge to the beach, the downtown was the epicenter for community activities, much like most towns across the country. A lot has changed since then, while our population has grown. In 1971, the DDB was established with the state and an extra tax to the downtown property owners, who were authorized to elect DDB members to spend the funds to primarily increase downtown property values and revitalize the downtown, which has consistently been achieved. Most everyone shares a long-term vision of a thriving downtown where people can live, work, and play that is filled with nice art, places to live, businesses, stores, restaurants, and entertainment. Over the past decades, a paradigm shift across America migrated downtown retail to the big malls, big box stores, and the internet. Same here, but now we have a number of new places to live, a growing tech hub, restaurants, businesses, theaters, parks, and historic building restorations. We have increasing property values, a fantastic place to live, and more people living and working in the area than ever before. With that, creative entrepreneurs from around the world continue to arrive and invest in our city and downtown. The DDB's plan is to continue to be in step with the city's overall direction while investing the downtown property owners' extra tax fund in a responsible manner. The pandemic arrived in the spring of 2020. Our city leaders correctly decided to temporarily close the beaches and Cleveland Street to keep our city safe and provide outside dining and entertainment during the lockdown. The DDB supports the city's overall direction and safety protocols and understands we have zero authority to open or close city streets. And during that period, the DDB funded numerous grants in coordination with the CRA and the City Council to keep our downtown alive. Since 1971, the DDB has funded millions into the downtown district. To our knowledge, the DDB has never received a formal written complaint from one property owner. The DDB has been a consistent funding channel for requests other city organizations cannot fund. For example, the DDB has funded popular events, markets, festivals, music, advertising, marketing, cultural activities, signage, decorations, and special requests like the Winter Dolphin exhibit, the Jolly Trolley, the marina, and even tons of holiday snow. These actions have helped to attract thousands of locals, residents, and tourists to our downtown. The DDB administrates tax funds. Whether federal or state, tax-based organizations all have policies, procedures, and legal regulations to comply with. The DDB members and those we fund must follow these guidelines, and our attorney and CRA staff have done a great job ensuring compliance. Prior to the pandemic, the DDB ended each year with nothing but reserves. Our annual budget is now around $400,000. In the last few years, the DDB had less requests and less people accepting their approved money, and so we ended up with a surplus, which we just went over with Ann. our new $400,000 budget plus the $575,000 carry forward surplus gives us a total of about $1 million to invest. Spread the word, because we really want to use this for the benefit of downtown. Anyone the DDB approves for grants must provide some administrative information in order to receive money. The CRA staff help with our open, flexible process, and we meet monthly and approve a majority of requests. The DDB considers every funding request on its own merit. A great example is the Jazz Holiday Group. They have received grant funds from the DDB for many years. And last year, with the impact from the pandemic and the urging of City Council, the DDB provided the Jazz Holiday with almost 20% of that year's DDB new funds. The Downtown CRA was established 10 years after the DDB was founded, and a working agreement was created between the two organizations. To ensure the DDB is on the same page as the city, 2 city council members, I was going to say always, but normally sit in the DDB meetings. This streamlined the direction with the city and has worked well for 40 years. Until a few weeks ago, we believed we were working harmoniously. At recent city council meetings, the city attorney said the DDB was not rowing in the same direction as the city and provided a few options to change the relationship with the DDB. The council decided to replace the current DDB board members, that's all of us, with council members or other private citizens. This new ordinance is scheduled to be finalized and read at 2 upcoming council meetings for approval. We, as the DDB, were unaware that we were not in alignment with the city's vision for downtown. We would like to be given the opportunity to align ourselves with the city's needs so we can continue to collaborate in making a thriving downtown and fulfill whatever the council would like to see. Tonight, I'd like to present a 4th option for consideration, which would be to ask the city council to provide clarification on direction and give the DDB a year to perform. As chair, I cannot make a motion, but I suggest that a board member provide one and request then that the ex officios, which is our conduit to the council, take this to the city council for consideration. So,
Might I suggest that we do something a little more direct since they're not here? Authorize us to take it to.
or yes, authorize us, but in the name of the ex officios, because we'd like to keep the line in.
No, that they're not here, they can't present it.
So we'll have to send it instead. So
We need,
I'm looking for a motion.
yeah,
So the motion is to send it to the council.
But we don't need that first. We can have questions.
Okay.
So go ahead. Sorry, what was your question?
No, I wanted Festus's clarification. Well, I was gonna ask her the same thing.
Which
But
was?
The motion, do we have to do a motion to send it to the council, or what is the motion?
I think
that
the
we're
motion that he
asking
is
for?
looking for is that we recommend a 4th option, that they provide us with some clarity or a work session of some sort to determine what direction they feel we're not traveling in.
Exactly.
Right.
To find out specifics on why it occurred and if we
okay.
can make changes, because none of us knew, unless you knew, that we weren't rowing in the same direction. I didn't know. Did you guys know?
No.
you didn't know?
So none of us
You
knew.
didn't?
So the motion would be something like to have our council send it to the council, our lawyer. And I have the wording here, but ask
Yeah.
the city council to provide clarification in some manner on direction and give us a year to perform.
Mhm.
And to add to what Keen said, and you can probably answer this better, have we had in the past years anyone who funded have a major complaint, or how many complaints have we had since we've been funding people? Have complained about not getting funds, or we made it difficult for them? Because I saw in the meeting someone complained about how difficult it was. We made it feel embarrassed. I think it was Emily's Restaurant.
That's
yeah?
right.
I have been in front of the council before, as everyone knows, to ask for funding, and they don't make it easy. You can watch and go back and see how hard it is to get money from the council. So I don't understand why that's a problem. Our job is not to make it easy, we just have to ask questions. That's what it is. And most of them do get their funds anyway. So I don't understand. That's a very interesting part I got, so, but I just wanted to clarify that, yeah.
So to clarify, the board has not denied any funding request that has come forward. There has been times where, I think it was a year ago, there was someone who came forward when they did their report out, and they had mentioned that they were disgruntled with the process, but that had, in conversations with them, we realized that that had nothing to do with the DDB's grant funding process. What their concerns were related to the special event process. And myself and CRA staff at the time referred them back to special events so that way they can work that. I have not received any complaints, any written complaints or verbal complaints from anybody. The only thing is explaining to them what staff's recommendation is based on your policies. It's, trying to make sure that they understand why, when I bring an item forward to them, the recommendation that I'm giving to you as the board is different than what their ask is. And it's, well, when I came last time, this is what I got. And I understand that, but the board has changed their policy. This is the recommendation that we give as staff. But as an applicant coming forward for grant funds, they can come up there and they can ask you for the moon. And you as a board can make that decision. But as staff, we will only provide a recommendation based on your policy.
Which we did for Jazz Holiday. We gave 20% of our budget that year. It was way over our normal procedures.
And my other question is, after we changed the policy, was there anyone who came over and said, you know what, I'm not gonna ask for funds because the policy is different, or this is just too much for me and they walked away?
I have not had any conversations about that.
You mentioned the person who was upset by some of our questions, the restaurant owner. I went personally a couple days before Christmas and met with him and apologized for all of the board, sincerely, having no idea that we had inadvertently offended him, and he accepted it graciously and seemed totally fine, and that there was just a misunderstanding.
The sign, one that we ask questions about?
Yeah, I just said he didn't really understand our process, and that, but it was fine. So he's been apologized to, so the rest of it just seems to be, we'd like clarification. If we're not rowing in the same direction, we'd like to know who, what,
Why?
when, where, how, why, and we'd be happy to row.
Yeah.
I would you guys want to?
Oh,
No,
yeah, absolutely.
To add to something else that was said, they said we're not there to defend ourselves when they had the meetings. But the problem is that if you tell me I'm guilty and been sentenced, what am I defending myself for? Is it they want us to come beg for our positions? That's not going to happen. I will not do that. I'm not going to beg for a position. No way. But if you want me to defend myself, you tell me, as you said, if we're not lined up with what the plan is, then say, hey, you guys are not lined up with the plan, come over and explain yourself, something like that.
Yeah.
But when you come in and tell me that you're not lined up, we've made a decision, and then you want me to go over and beg you for a job, they don't know who I am, I'm not going to do that. Maybe
Right.
someone else will do that on this committee, but I'll never do that.
Well, let's find out what they actually want, because we've never received anything in writing
Exactly.
or really verbally,
Exactly.
and so we don't know.
Yeah, there's
So-
nothing wrong with them saying if we haven't done a problem, I have a problem. Yeah, definitely tell us this.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what they're here for. That's why I fought hard for you to stay here. I did that.
You saw their meeting, so you saw the
Yeah,
three
yeah,
options
yeah,
that were
yeah,
provided,
yeah.
which
So-
we don't really need to recant, but it wasn't.
But we, as a group, were unaware that there were those 3 different people that had negative things to say about us. We didn't know. We'd never received a complaint.
If you're talking about the 3 that showed up,
Yes.
we knew that the DCMA was not happy with us because we would, but they were more unhappy about the city procedure, about what they had to do to get paid. We don't set that procedure. I don't think the city's doing anything wrong on it. They want invoices, they want W-9s, they want you to do what you said you were gonna do in the contract. It's a 4-page contract, and the last page is basically don't discriminate, If you know, don't break the law. I mean, the last page is, everything meaningful is in like, takes up about a page and a half. You know, so those were people that we knew did not like the process they had to go through to get paid. And we don't set that. But if we did, I gotta say, we'd probably do the same thing they're objecting to. We want them to document what they did. We want them to, we don't expect anything complicated. We want a W-9, prove to us that you've got a tax ID number, and we want invoices. And since it's reimbursable, we want proof that you paid somebody.
Of course.
And you may not know.
Thank you for that clarification.
You guys may not know, but Elise and Ann spent an inordinate amount of hours
Yes.
helping some of those people get paid.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was an annual contract, was supposed to be billing us monthly.
Yeah.
Waited until 3 months after the contract was over. No, 2 months after the contract was over to give her initial bill. And it included areas that are not within the DDB, and we cannot use DDB taxpayer money to pay for other areas, you know? So we had to work. That's who's complaining. And they're not our taxpayers.
Not
makes
the
sense.
property owners, to our knowledge, and since 1971, to my knowledge, not one formal complaint from a property tax owner. Property owner who pays the tax that we spend, who we, you know, did I say that right?
The process.
Well, I gotta say, when I was in the board in the 90s, there was one guy who showed up every month, but it was, you know,
It was just Angry Joe.
he just didn't want the DDB to exist.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay, so there's one.
But in the 90s, but he's no longer here.
It's 50 years now. So can I get a motion?
Sure, just have to read
So
That's right.
the idea would be, again, to have our attorney, yes.
So it's more easy.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'd like to make a motion for us to present, to ask the council to present a fourth option for consideration, which could be to clarify, it's confusing me here, right? So I'm going to make a motion to ask the council to clarify, give the fourth option and clarify why they made the certain decision they did make. So,
And to add a fourth option.
and add a fourth option.
Well, and give us a year to
Yeah.
respond,
Yeah, to respond.
To perform.
to perform.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sorry.
Detailed clarification.
Yeah.
Do I have a second from Festus's motion?
I second.
Kiara seconds. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor?
Wait, you might have a citizen comments?
Did you want to comment on this?
No, I was waiting to speak on something else that Ray Casano told me I could join this meeting because I had a request. So I can wait. I
Okay.
don't know what this is about.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. We'll call you in a second.
Okay, thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will, it's unanimous. I'll
I'm
send
sorry,
this
who made the motion?
to Festus.
Festus.
Seconded by
Kiara.
Kiara.
Sorry, I forgot I was supposed to be.
The, taking notes?
We'll move the minutes for citizens to be heard, or citizens to be heard after her report. So just give us a
Okay.
few more minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Did we skip
Normally,
over
it's right at the
canvassing?
beginning, so.
Okay,
our
sorry.
apologies. No,
Um,
my apologies.
You skipped over canvassing board.
Instead of Freudian
We're all over the place tonight, Ann.
You are.
Probably canvassing board we wanted to get under our belt here.
Yes.
Canvassing committee, yes.
Did I miss that? I did, okay.
Request appointment for the,
Well, I was just checking to see if you were all awake.
uh-huh.
So, back to 4.3, the appointment of a DDB canvassing committee member. Ann.
So this item is to request for one member of the DDB to serve on the canvassing committee for the election. Anybody can serve on it except for the two members who are seeking re-election, which is members Frazier and Novitsky. And if there's no volunteers, then as the chair, you can select a member to be on this canvassing committee. They will meet on January 23rd at 3 p.m. at the Clearwater City Clerk's office. They'll meet with myself and city staff, and we will count the ballots for the election.
And it usually takes how long?
Usually it takes about an hour, hour and a half.
We have a volunteer. You need two?
Just one.
It's fun, I've
It's
done it.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
I
city,
try to make it fun.
do we need
It's
to
okay.
nominate on this?
No, you can appoint,
So
You can appoint members.
just
Kiara
you
has-
appoint her.
you have been appointed.
Okay, thank you. January 23rd,
Yes, and I will send you an email.
thank you.
letting
Okay,
you
good.
know.
5.1, Elise.
At the January 29th meeting of the city council, there will be a first reading of the amendment to the DDB ordinance. It does not streamline the DDB, it changes it dramatically. As it exists, the DDB is a special taxing district. If you own non-exempt property in the DDB, you pay an extra tax to fund the DDB. It's just short of 1 mil. This is not true of the CRA. The CRA is funded by taking part of the taxes collected by other government entities, including the DDB. When they say the DDB is partially funded by CRA money, they are taking a misleading shortcut. The DDB assesses and collects the tax, pays the CRA, it assesses the tax. County taxpayer collects it. But the DDB assesses the tax. It pays the CRA a large portion of that tax, and then the CRA refunds most of it to the DDB pursuant to a local agreement. The DDB was created by the legislature in the 70s before community redevelopment agencies existed. Because the taxpayers within the district had essentially agreed to pay the extra tax to fund the DDB, the taxpayers were given the right to choose and remove representatives who determined how those funds were spent. That representatives have to have a direct tie to the downtown district. Those taxpayers have the effective right to dissolve the DDB and abolish the tax. I attended the last city council meeting at which this amendment was discussed. The people who spoke in favor of the amendment were not DDB taxpayers. Most were people who have accepted funding from the DDB but disliked the responsibility of complying with the funding requirements. They misrepresented and or misunderstood the funding policy, falsely stating that having received funding prior to the effective date of the policy, they were no longer eligible for funding. That has not been true at all. In summary, if you own taxable property in the DDB district, you pay extra taxes to fund the DDB. Under the current ordinance, you have the right to choose your representatives who determine how the additional tax is spent, replace them if you don't think they're doing their job, and dissolve the board and its extra tax if it no longer serves its purpose. It is no surprise that the amendments do not abolish the tax. They still want the money. What it will do is take away the voice of the DDB taxpayers. Those taxpayers will lose the ability to abolish the tax and the right to choose their own representatives. It is a very clear example of taxation without representation. If you are a DDB taxpayer and you want your voice to be heard, you need to contact the members of the City Council now and attend and speak at the City Council meeting on January 29th at 6 o'clock in this room. And let other people know, because this and the second reading are your last opportunities to be heard before the opportunity is taken away from you.
Thank you, Elise.
Thank you.
5.2, we can cancel.
You were gonna talk to
Lady?
The ex officio members are not here. Do the DDB members have any other comments they want to add to this?
That was,
You know, we
I
need to
appreciate
spread
the
the word.
clarification
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, and we need to spread the voice.
Okay.
It does no good to send me to these meetings. They figure you pay me to be there.
Right.
They have to know that the property, the tax owners care, and they have to show up.
Property owners.
Even the people that live in apartments, Pier 100, the Station Square.
How many property owners are there, Ann, roughly? Approximately?
Taxpayers.
There's a total of 942 parcels and about 700-ish are taxable.
Yeah.
So to be clear, they have the right to petition to dismantle this or keep it.
As the ordinance exists now, if you have 30% of the taxpayers sign, and keep in mind, this includes not just the businesses, each one of those condominium units, even though it gets homestead, it's not totally exempt, so it's still a taxpayer. So each one of those condominium units, all of that are taxpayers in our district.
Yep.
And right now, if 30% of them get together and sign a petition, and then this board will determine whether or not that petition should go for a vote. Now, if 30% of our taxpayers, how many usually vote?
This is great.
About 250.
Okay,
$1,000.
so if 30 want you all to dissolve the board, and you say no, believe me, at the next election, you won't be sitting here, and they will be able to get it dissolved, okay? So when it says petition, and then the board determines whether or not you're gonna go forward, they have the power to make you do it, all right?
Yeah.
Now, if it is the city council sitting up here, and 30% of our property owners petition to dissolve it, that 30% is not going to mean much in a city council election. They have even if they leave that provision in the ordinance, they have effectively gotten rid of the ability of the property owners to get rid of the tax. So that's when I say they still want the tax, they still want the money, they just don't want your voice,
Yep.
okay?
So we're gonna submit this request to get a year to keep things as it is and follow the direction better, whatever that is. But there is, if that goes nowhere, the property owners need to do something about this.
Well, we can't depend on that request going
No.
anywhere.
Exactly.
Can we prepare the petition and present it on January 29 and have maybe 30% or more?
If you can get 30% to sign that petition, I think it's a pretty good voice. However, they've fast-tracked this. Originally, they took it to the legislature. The legislature said, we don't want to do it. We think you can do it without us. Basically, they didn't want to do it. So it came back. So what they're doing is they're amending the ordinance. So we have amended the ordinance in the past, worked with the city the city can amend the ordinance. But it was never implied, never believed that you could just amend it to change the whole stuff. So, the property owners, if this does go through, may have other legal options. But I don't think that's the route anyone wants to go.
And historically, I don't know that you guys know this, maybe you do, but Elise told me that years ago,
Years ago, it was in the 90s when I was on the board, there was a group of commissioners that didn't like the fact that this board had money independent of them. And they got together and said, we're going to have it dissolved. And, basically it was, it's either legislature or the property owners, you can't do it. So that was it more straightforward. They weren't going to keep the money, they were just going to get rid of it altogether. This one wants to keep the money and get rid of the voice.
But
They
they
asked the
approached
property, they had us do a ballot to the property owners, saying, do you want to continue paying extra money to fund the DDB? And much to our surprise, they said yes. And then they came back and said, well, you must have worded it wrong. We want you to do it again. That costs money. So we did a straw poll, and they came and used the wording they wanted us to use, which is, are you really, it wasn't, I'm exaggerating, but it was, are you really, really sure you want to spend extra money on this? That is an exaggeration, but basically, that's where it went, and it once again came back, yes. All right, and what actually, we had more vacant storefronts back then than we do now. What actually came out in force were the condominiums, particularly Pierce, the one that hangs out over the water. So, yeah,
Okay,
So there is
we can
precedent, we can
We
present.
can present a petition.
this time they're not asking the taxpayers what they want.
No, but we can present a petition.
The property owners can present a petition. And then if,
Do that before January 29th.
yes, because it's,
But what I started out saying is they're fast tracking it. First reading's gonna be January 29th. The second reading's at a meeting in February. February. So theoretically, if they keep this moving, it's done in March. I mean, it's done in February.
our last meeting would be in March.
Our last meeting would probably be in February.
February, March.
Okay, so, I mean, it's fast track. So if anything is going to happen, it has to happen now, okay?
So just for protocol's sake,
Can we-
property owners that sit on this board that might want to organize a petition,
As long as two of them don't go out together, yeah, I mean, the only thing I want you all to avoid is discussing it and going out together, because I don't want you to violate the sunshine law. But as individuals on this board, if you think it's important and you have no other property owners, I'd be talking to them.
any questions? We got it?
Yeah.
We've got our marching orders. Okay, thank you, Elise. We've passed through the minutes, but I see two people have arrived. If you have nice things to say to us.
Can I?
Yes.
Okay. I have a request.
You have to be up here.
Oh, we're on the
Come on
team?
up,
Oh.
and stand there.
And
Hi.
you have 3 minutes, but our clock is broken, but just
Oh,
know that.
okay, you want me to put it on my phone?
Ann may beat you.
Siri, give me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, good. So my name is Stacy Francis. I work with a very amazing artist by the name of Alex Rigetto. We have a company called Alex Rigetto Masterworks. We did Art Basel the last 3 years, and every time we go to Miami, we see beautiful murals. We've developed a relationship with those people that do those paintings. We have a very popular piece. It's called Mona Lisa's Daughter. It's a tribute piece to the baby that Mona Lisa lost at birth, and it's getting a lot of traction. It was in Times Square, it was in Vogue magazine, Vanity Fair. It's going very well for us as a company, and we're selling very well, and Alex is becoming very popular. We don't want to wait for him to die, so we want to keep doing as much as we can to make him as popular and as known about as far as his artwork being sold. We love living here in Clearwater, we love the community, and we would like to put on the table the idea of possibly getting funded to do a big mural of Mona Lisa's daughter on one of the buildings downtown. I brought it up to Ray, and he said it might be something that I could present to you as an idea that you might be willing to work with me on. I do have relationships with those artists in Miami, and they would be willing to come into Clearwater and contribute to the project.
It's a fantastic idea. We love art, right? I think Ann knows the procedures best.
Okay.
We may run into some conflict with regulations with the city, right?
Well, it depends. If it's on private property, that's between you as a between the artist and the property owner. You're more than welcome to come forward to the board and ask for funding.
Okay.
I would assume. There is I would like to get you in touch with Amber Bryce. She's the city's Arts and Cultural Affairs Coordinator.
Okay.
She does a lot of work with mural artists and things like that, so I would like to get you in touch with her, and you can start your conversations, but absolutely, if the board doesn't see any reason and not to, then yes, we could talk about potentially having you come forward for funding.
Okay, I love it. That's exciting. Thank you so much. So should I give you my phone number?
Yeah, actually, I do need for you to fill out
Oh,
one of
okay.
these.
Okay.
Thank you for
And then
coming.
you can bring
Thank
it
you
back.
so much, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tony, did you hear we had some money? Is that why you're here?
No.
We like to give it to you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, please,
Okay,
please.
of course. As long as I don't have to open up my wallet, that's what you told me last time.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know,
Yeah,
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, well, that's actually what I came here to talk about. I'm obviously a local. You can go downtown, you'll see me. I'm always working on my place. I consider myself now a Clearwater resident and local. I've, like he said, I've opened up my wallet and I put my money where my mouth is, and I've invested over $1.6 million into the downtown.
That's not you.
That was,
Which is,
Not you.
keep going.
yeah, which is, I think, substantial for someone of my wealth that is not exorbitant.
Tell them where your businesses are.
They're at 520, 522, and 528 Cleveland Street. I put it on events.
The cigar bar and the piano, doing piano.
Yeah,
bar.
that's all me. And me and my partner and my guys and my beautiful crew. I've sacrificed a lot for this downtown area. I fail to understand why we've come to the point where this organization is being dismantled, and I think I have the answer for you guys.
Oh.
The lenience, the lack of giving out funding and appropriate funding, a large amount that you guys have stacked and kept in your coffers has led to this problem. And I think that it might be, like you said, a taxation without representation, but I feel like when the people aren't being represented by their representatives, it becomes a greater issue. There's people in the downtown area that we've seen it time and time again. It looks like a ghost town. We have this organization to fund the downtown and power its growth. It is on the burden and responsibility of business people like myself to take the initiative and, like you said, open up our wallet and do it. We have. I have. And I've seen people struggle in and out of business constantly in the downtown area, and it sickens me to see that. This would have not been an issue if the coffers were open and were more loose and lenient with people in the downtown. It needed it, and it needs it. There is a saying, taxation without representation, but you and all of us have to represent the people. And for us to do that, we must be downtown. We should be patroning those businesses, the downtown, my businesses. And I don't see you guys that often in my place, and I'm there every day. And that's what the citizens want to see. It is taxation without representation, but we must represent the citizens. That means walking their path and being like, I hate to say it, but like JC, and walking the path of the common man, seeing the problems yourself. And I think that's something that our representatives fail to see. And that's what I came up to say. I love all you guys. You guys are locals, but we do need help downtown. And
Question.
Yeah.
Can I, since you're here?
Of course.
Did you by chance see the first part of our meeting?
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, no, I did not.
Missed the first part.
We,
don't just
I'd
have
like
to
to get
say
you a
it.
copy of it.
Yeah, I'd love to have it.
Because-
I'll take it. The more informed I am, the better, because I just want to see the community grow.
What's
And that's
your-
all I
what-
We
want.
would love to have more downtown people come to us.
What's
Yeah,
your,
but like all of us, we're getting frustrated.
What's your
we're dying
email
out there.
address,
Like
Tony?
we're
We don't
suffering.
notice.
what email address?
TMT?
TMG?
No, TMT. Like
TMT.
Tonatiuh Manuel Tello.
TMT.
At Bandido BANDIDO @gmail.com. And you guys.
Bandito at gmail.com?
Yeah, you see me. I'm at the coffee shop you go to.
I know.
I think you have my
You should
phone.
come to my office more.
Yeah. You see me riding my bike every day.
So just so you know, we do have a surplus,
Yes.
and I'll send you this little report, but we do have a surplus. We didn't have as many asks during the pandemic. We approved virtually every request that came our way, and we have some money now. And if you come next month with a good request, you'll probably get approved.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the board members here, but my guess would be if you have a good request, we want to spend the money.
Yeah. I just that's what I've seen. Like I
That's
said,
a question for you.
of course.
Yeah, because you said we don't come to you to
Yes.
see the
Yes.
needs and so on, but I never saw you come in here with the proposal.
I have.
asking
I've
for
actually-
funds
I've-
on the last year.
I actually came with a proposal. I was
The
denied
last year.
funding. And then I had to fund it myself. It was the cost per person was about $14 per person. The cost for the jazz festival was about $46 per person. And the gentleman on my right here told me that we had to be mindful of the taxpayers' dollars and it was too exorbitant. I believe you were there as well when I got denied. No, that did
When
happen.
you came?
It was before your term.
Quick question.
Okay, so
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
How many people
Okay.
have we denied funding?
Was this for the Starry Night?
Yes, Starry Night.
So Starry Night did receive funding. That event was rained out.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. I don't think we received funding.
We
You
did
were
approve
approved
it.
for funding.
Oh, I thought we were not approved.
Yes,
for funding.
you were
Yeah.
approved for funding, but I think if memory serves me correct, there was a rain out, there was the option, to hold a second event, but I don't think it.
Yeah. We ended up. I ended up funding it myself. It went okay, but I got.
But you received the funding. The reason why I asked that question, because before you got here, I asked Anne the same question. How many people have refused funding? How many people who received funding are unhappy with us and have complained? 0.
No, yeah, I think there is a reason for that. Just sometimes I think people have a fear to present. And I know it's not a burden on you guys.
If they have an issue and they're afraid to present it, then how do I know they have?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
whose fault is it then?
I know. The burden falls always on the person who lacks to speak out.
But I just want
Always.
to correct. Everyone who asked for funds have gotten their funds. So that's what you said is not true.
Okay.
We do fund everyone who comes here.
And we would like to give you money, because you have great stores on the street. And
Yeah,
do walk
I
the
try
street
to do my
every
best
day.
on the street.
Just for the record, I walk the street 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
right.
And we want to give you money. We want to give more money. We have money. We actually put a program together for Google ads and Facebook ads, and unfortunately, most of that money never got spent because we didn't get enough people asking for it. So if you meet with Ann or come by and see
Yeah,
me,
I would,
we'll figure out a way to get you some money.
For
But-
me,
but-
it's less about the money now. It's more about just.
And I'd like to know who is saying that we're not giving out money? Who is telling you that?
That's what just we hear. I hear it.
That's the thing. It's always
Who,
we hear it.
somebody's
The
spreading
ghost.
that.
No.
In
It's not a
addition-
ghost. It's definitely not a ghost. It's public opinion. I would say that, like I said, I'm on a storefront there. I hear the murmurs as I walk by of hidden agendas to keep the place closed. I'm not from this area. I'm not a local. But it doesn't take a local to hear it.
But my problem is
Well, we're very. I'm sorry.
My problem is that you said there's public opinion and rumors.
Yeah, public opinion is
But
negative.
now you came to us saying we didn't fund you.
Yes.
And so that's not true. So are there people out there that say the same thing? That's not true because it's rumors.
Maybe.
That could be an issue too. So you have to be careful with that kind of thing.
I think unfortunately, in the voice of many always lies some truth. So, and that's a
Everyone has been
context. Yeah.
funded. Everyone has been funded.
Yeah.
So where is the who's saying we're not funded? Everyone's been funded. So,
So then-
where's the truth in that? Saying we don't fund anyone. But
We-
everyone has been funded.
Well,
That's why
part
I
of the
think-
problem is our policy where we say, because there were a couple of years there where we used up pretty much everything
Mhm.
that we had in our events funding. I said, I'm using the royal we, they.
Yeah.
And so in order to make sure that we could afford events more along the sides that you were looking for funding on, we tried to put caps on what we would fund.
Yeah, I think.
And we also said we would prefer people who hadn't asked twice before. But it was that started this year, and this is after your request.
Yes.
And what I keep hearing is, well, I don't even bother going back in because I've already asked twice. Well, it's before this rule even came into place. You still have your 2 times, and it doesn't say we won't fund you. We're just saying we're going to give preference. We're going to try to get new groups in here, and we're trying to move it out of the just 2 blocks. We want it to move down the road too.
Yeah, I would say like all things, it's saturation of an area, and then it grows from there. If you expend your resources out too thin, it doesn't have as drastic as effect.
Yeah.
I would say it's.
So we have about $1 million to spend. If you put a request in this week and come back in February, you'll probably get the money.
Yeah, I just.
But
I would not-
after
yeah.
this week, it may not be this board making that decision.
It would be the
After-
council.
After February, you may have to go
But
before the.
thank-
That money may go other places.
Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing.
maybe they're not
your-
Yeah, I've been wanting to come back here. Like I said, I one of the citizens who had a bad taste. I was like, all right, well, I guess we're just not heard here. And if I was mistaken, then I was mistaken.
Yes, you did have
But
the
but like that's, and if I feel that way, and I'm what's you would say more boisterous, I'm sure that other people
Well,
feel.
I don't feel that way. Do you guys feel that way?
Well,
We funded just about
no, that's what I'm saying.
So
It's not.
Everyone.
For you to feel that way, I feel like somebody is you know, going around saying, oh, they're not doing it, and maybe there's like
Yeah.
an agreement
And they
going
are.
on.
And they are, that's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
thank you.
Yeah, it's all over.
But it's not true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so somebody started that, we have an idea.
Well,
Thank you.
it was
But
a
I
pleasure.
think it's
guys.
great that you came here tonight, because
Thank you for
now
coming.
you've had clarification of what you thought happened, actually
Correct.
didn't happen, and now you can be a voice to
Yeah.
help spread what we are actually doing amongst the people that are saying to others.
Like I said, my main intention, and I've proven it by my actions, is to make this area as best that it can be.
And
Like,
that's
I'm
why
moving
we're
my
on this-
family down here.
That's why we're on this board too. Most all of us
We're
either
all
work or
volunteers.
live or play
Yeah.
down here, and we want to see it thrive too. So we
That-
want to work with you all.
That's all I want. Like, I want this to be the next St. Pete or Dunedin, and I believe in it, or else I
Me
wouldn't
too.
have
Yeah.
wasted my fortune here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for coming.
clarification, I
Thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much.
Yes.
What, oh, the card? Here you go.
All right. Any other items we'd like to discuss before we adjourn?
No.
Nope. It's 6:25, meeting adjourned.